But the Sawei system, as I understand it, as it existed for centuries, was a system designed and set up for trade relationship, if you like, to allow island groupings to come together for collective benefit of everyone that is part of it, right? The islands further out, the remote outer islands of Yap, would come every year or every other year in a formed fleet of canoes, and they would start from as far off east as Chuk and start to collect some gift and tokens of appreciation that will then be transported on canoes from one point to another, where these other canoes of that place would huddle. They would take on the same gift, add to it, go to the next stop. In the Sawei system, there's key points of stopping. The voyage doesn't go to every single island. They stop on key points that allows for groups to come together and meet there and add on, and they go. It also changed. It's like, imagine a baton being passed. So the first group of canoes would be led by one navigator carrying maybe the gift about this big. They go to the next key stop, and on that stop there's 20 other canoes from different islands have come and wait, right? They would add to the gift. What was this? It's now maybe this size, right? But the baton will change hand from this group to that group. Some of this original group may return. Some stay on the voyage with their canoes, and they go to the next stop. But this time, the responsibility is on the island that they come to converge on. They're the one leading the voyage. The voyage, in terms of number of canoe, has expanded, and in terms of the gift that was this size, has now expanded. So it goes to the second stop, and same thing happened. The gift expanded further, and eventually it lands in Yap, in Gagil. That is now the municipality of the island up to the north. And when the fleet of canoes come in, there is already preparation on land. Protocol is already set up, so that when they come in, everybody knows exactly what they're going to do, right? And it's a very long, tedious thing. But anyways, what's going to happen is that those navigators will come in, they'll talk with their counterparts. Once everything is clear, crews are clear, come on shore, gifts are exchanged, that content of that gift package is given, and they stay at Yap for however long it takes for them to wait for the westerly wind or call the westerly wind, so that they can voyage back. And during that time, interaction is happening, transfer of skills is taking place, knowledge, both ways, exchanges, dances are composed, etc. Right? Magics are passed on from one to another, medicine, massage, etc. And for the outer islands, maybe even more physical stuff like canoes, because those islands are very small. Maybe to have a big tree is hard, but in Yap, there's bigger trees, bigger canoes. So we start to get our canoes from the Yapese people who carve faster and bigger canoes. We take, because they allow us to take in exchange of that. And then when the westerly wind comes, we sail back. And the system just repeats itself, with different voyagers maybe every year, different navigators. But the contents remains. What needs to be taken to Yap is taken there, My understanding is that there's several certain different also gifts that are given. Some to the Sawei people. Sawei, by the way, if you call the word Sawei in Yapese, as I'm sure you probably know, is a basket, right? And that's a Sawei, certain type of basket. You probably also know that in Yapese there's people don't walk around without baskets, right? Various reasons why you must carry your basket. Number one, if you're carrying your basket and you come into a village, somebody looks at you, said, she's okay. You know, if you come swinging around your hands like that, nothing, holding up your hand, or you're a troublemaker, you've come to attack the village. But if you come with busy hands because you have your basket, you know that. And then sometimes I know that the famous saying by one of our leader in Yap, John Mangafel, who came up with the idea of wisdom is found in the basket. And the reason he used that was because when we're sitting in the men's house and we're talking, and everybody is heated discussion going, Okay, let's find wisdom in the basket. Let's take a pause. Open up your basket. Look for some betel nut. Chew one betel nut and just essentially what that basket is telling you is shut up. Yeah? Just shut up for a moment. Chew one betel nut. Occupy your mouth. You're talking too much. Like me now, But I don't have my basket. But that's the idea. Is when you're listening, when you're chewing. Or maybe if you don't have betel nut, you just fiddle around, pretend to look for something. Yeah? That allows for individual people in that meeting to think and to hear what has been said. And then they find the solution. Usually when you're looking for the wisdom in the basket, it will come. Sometimes it might just mean chew a betel nut. That's Sawei, is that basket. And I think for generations, that system had existed in Yap for benefit of both, There are writers and scholars who have written on it and have their own theories of what it is. I think they all tell portion and fraction of the story, what it is. But truly what it must be for the people who really live it and believe it. But for us, the inheritors of it, we know that it's much more than what it appears to be on the surface. These were people who were voyaging for the sake of survival of race, even. It's not a trade, might have been one. But, it's a lot more complicated than what it appears to be. So I think had the Sawei system not existed, Yap would have been a very different place today. Yeah. I think it is what it is today because stuff like those were put in place by ancestors. That 200 years later, you and I still know our place when we go to Yap. But when I go to Yap, I know certain policies, unspoken protocols of what needs to be done, and vice versa. When somebody from Yap goes to Naura, there's those. But it's deeply rooted beyond just from the service.